Hello and welcome back to Transcendent Music Blog. My name is Roman and I am here with my next review. And today I'm going to talk about Naxen's latest release, Towards the Tomb of Time. Some of you might know that this release already came out in June, and I'm talking about that release now in December. This is because of the fact that I originally planned to start my video reviews with this album, but due to technological issues, I was not able to do so. Which means that Transcendent Music Blog did so far not talk about this album, which is a shame because this definitely needs to be talked about. So first about Naxen. Naxen is a black metal band from Münster who already received a lot of attention with their previous release, To Abide in Ancient Abysses, that came out via Vendetta Records. Some of you might already be aware of at least two members of that band, because first of all, LN, who is doing, so I'm sticking to the abbreviations now, LN, who is doing vocals and guitars, was active in his previous band Gold Dust, together with Chris Noir from Ultha, which was a band that started off with quite a hardcore tone and eventually also added a lot of nastier tones. Was also quite well known around here in Western Germany. The already mentioned release To Abide in Ancient Abysses, as well as this full-length release Towards the Tomb of Times, both came out via Vendetta Records. If you don't know that label, it's quite a good label for a lot of different black metal releases. That was also damn active this year, put out a lot of good records in 2020. So at least after having entered this release halfway on the first track already, it's quite evident that you have straight to the core and straightforward black metal sound going on this release. It was already quite evident on the previous release, To Abide in Ancient Abysses, there's a lot of US black metal sound going on Naxen's releases. And I think this is also something that is upheld on this release. So you have a definite emphasis on the guitars on this release as well. The guitars are on the absolute full front. There's a lot of playful guitar playing going on. For example, switching between some genres and also playing different styles of black metal as well. Apart from that, there's also, not only on the guitars, but in general, some genre mixing going on. You have a slight amount of doom also going on this release. And you have also a minimal amount of punk even included on this release as well, which also tells you that there is some mixing going on. But apart from that mixing, Naxen is interested in some clear, to the core black metal sound, which is also great. When going deeper into the guitars, which basically also play the key role on this release, you get to know the fact that those guitars are also the essential key when there is some genre switching going on. So, for example, on the first track, you open up with this doom riff. You have this doom sound, slow drums. There's definitely a lot of doom metal going on. This is great just to open up this album. So you get into this album, you are slowly introduced to this sound. You have a doom riff, a slow and very epic opening. You have slow drums, and then you immediately crush into this black metal sound. So after this doom part, you just immediately jump right into the first riff, and you already get to know, okay, this is, again, so much emphasis on the guitars. The guitar playing is still the key role on this release as well. And apart from that, also the fact that kind of makes up this genre mixing, especially within black metal sounds. So as I said already, the US black metal sound is still quite active on this, which means there are a lot of very good lead melodies going on pretty much every track, which always holds up the flag pointing at US black metal. However, apart from that, you also have some very atmospheric riffing going on, which, in my opinion, goes slightly goes away from that straight black US black metal sound. And this album is always switching, especially between those two styles. You always have a sequence where a lead melody is definitely the key point, then transcending into something where there is a quite atmospheric chord going on. You have fastened drums, so the drums are sped up, and the switch between these styles is also already something that gets you back to the attention of this record. So you always are pushed towards, again, paying attention. The guitars also kind of add a very cathartic tone or cathartic playing, because throughout this release, you kind of feel that you are working towards a peak, especially at those sequences when you leave a quite chord-driven sequence and transcend into a lead melody. Those lead melodies always feel like raising the tension, and eventually, in the end, you have what you were maybe waiting for when having listened to the Divine Ancient Abysses a lot, as I did. You have this acoustic part again that Naxen already did damn well on their last release. And this is also something that I think is the relief. So the finishing scene, and also the sequence you are working towards on all the tracks before, when you then eventually enter this acoustic part, this very dramatic final on this album, also going by the vocals and the whispering going on this track. You eventually left the peak and finish off this record just damn well. So apart from that, the guitars are obviously not everything that is going on this album. There is some more going on, and I think another key aspect that is going on in this album are the vocals. So first of all, setting the tone of the vocals, you have some quite straightforward black metal vocals, not those absolutely harsh black metal tone vocals, but pretty good, understandable, yet still quite aggressive black metal vocals. You have, as I already mentioned, some whispering going on as well on the last track on this album. But apart from that, I think the vocals are still understandable, already pointing at the fact that the lyrics are important as well. Apart from that, though, I think going by the vocals, there's especially a highlight going on the third track, where we don't only have the vocals by LN, but also by former band friend from Gold Dust, Chris Noir, who's joining on this third track. And first of all, when listening, when hearing the fact that you have a duet going on a black metal track, you are kind of confused, because you think that there's not even a possibility to hearing difference between those vocals. But when those two vocal styles collide, it's definitely different. So if you don't know Ultha, there is a distinct singing going on this band, in this band. So Chris Noir has quite a, I'd say, suicidal depressive black metal tone on the vocals. It's very distinctive. So you hear his vocals when you hear him singing. I didn't know that he was included on this album when I first listened. and when you hear the third track, you know it's him going on this track. And then also combining with the very traditional style of singing from Naxen, so from LN, this is just damn great on this third track. So instrumentally, I think there's also kind of an illusion at the sound of Ultha, because it's a little slower. You kind of feel that something is slightly pointing at this suicidal, depressive black metal tone. And then you have the switching between the vocals of LN and Chris Noir going on this album. And I think this, because of that, I think this definitely is the best, if not the best, at least one of the best tracks of the 4 tracks on this album. But it's just so damn great what you can hear on that track. So eventually, you have a straight to the core black metal release going on here that is absolutely recommendable. Switching between different styles of black metal and also adding nuances of other genres as well. For example, the doom sequence that is opening up this release, as well as slight elements of punk drumming going on the final track of this album. You have guitars that are in the absolute forefront. You have decent guitar playing going on, showing transitions between different styles of black metal only by the play style of the guitars. However, one thing that is eventually quite unfortunate when going into detail about this guitar playing is that, in my opinion, the drums at some point step into the background too much. So the drumming sometimes is not so present when comparing to the guitars. Of course, you get the fact that guitar playing definitely is an absolute forefront on this album. But at some spots, you might want to have some more drumming in the forefront as well. Nevertheless, the entire sound that is delivered on this album is absolutely great. And if you missed this release so far in 2020, you should definitely go back, enjoy, and listen to this release as well. So thanks for listening. Thanks for paying attention. Listen into this release if you missed it. Listen into this release if you didn't miss it. We're going to see each other in the next review. Until then, stay safe.